Welcome to WagerTalk Today, Teddy, baby. Looking good, brother. Is that a new blazer?
No, it is not a new blazer. I haven't bought. The last time I bought new blazers is when me and you went shopping.
I know. We got to tell that story one day for the 800th time. Hey, everybody. Welcome to WagerTalk. Brian, Dean, Chance, Bill, Jason, Lee, the sports group. 6 1s and a K. We love having you. A big show today, Teddy. Just awesome stuff. Dave Koken right off the top. We're going to look at the Navy game, Missouri versus Tennessee, Memphis and SMU. Our second guest, Gianni the Greek. How good is he, man? Last time he was on, he literally demanded everybody bet Izzy. It was a winner thanks to him. We're going to talk with him about some NFL, some New Orleans, Detroit, and he's going to do a UFC best bet. And Ralph Michaels ends the show. But guys, I need you to listen to what is going on. This show will end today at around 12:55 p.m. Eastern. And then don't go anywhere. We're going to run the end of the show clips, and we're going to come right back, Teddy, myself, and Ralph Michaels, for questions and answers. We're going to do this segment every Thursday. If you have a question, we will try to answer it. And Teddy, I told everybody on the NFL presidential address, we will answer any question they want. If they want business advice, ask us. Dressing advice, ask us. Sports, ask us. Whatever you want to know how to be a handicapper, ask us. Whatever question you have, Carmine's lasagna recipe, we will answer. Teddy, how are you today?
I just pray no one asks about your sex life. I literally pray. Because if we're going to answer
so now
everything,
you've just pretty much guaranteed that will be many questions. So, dude, Dave Koken, let's just get this going. We got a jam-packed show. Let's bring in the 8-1 in college football, a legend in the space. Dave Koken, how are you today, my friend? And you look good, nice, matching the hat to the shirt.
Good. And a warning. I might have to jump out of the seat while we're doing this because my cleaning crew is late. And you know what's going to happen. They're going to show up in the next couple of minutes. So I'll have to get up and open the door. Anyway,
Teddy, you want to know the difference between me, you, and Dave? I'm going to sum it up like this. You and your wife do the cleaning in your house. I have a cleaning lady, but Dave, he's got a crew.
Well, it's 2.
Okay. But you called him a crew.
Well, they are.
And no, me and my wife don't do the cleaning in our house, dude.
You got someone come
We got
too?
a crew as well. Yeah,
how much do you pay?
It's like 120, I think, every 2 weeks. It's less than that.
Yeah. Well, I got a little larger house. Dave Koken, let's get straight to it. A 4-0 Saturday last week, 8-1 to start the season. Outstanding stuff. Navy playing Air Force, -7 for Navy, 46.5 is the total. Help us find a winner in this game.
Okay, so, and I posted this as the free play, and this will be a contrary selection because everybody knows the Air Force is missing a lot of people with the virus. They haven't played a game yet. They could be short, 30, 40 players in this game. And everybody's playing Navy. Well, they didn't learn their lesson from last week, evidently, because Virginia Tech was down a ton of players and some key guys, and they went out there and smashed NC State. The odds makers are also aware that Air Force is shorthanded. And yet they saw fit to install Air Force as the early favorite in this game. The market has shifted it in a big way to Navy 7. Now, my number on the game with everybody playing, and this again is with everybody playing, full squads, would be Air Force -3.5. In college football, you can have your whole first team out, and I might not adjust 10 points. It's not like the NFL where there can be a drop-off from, absolute superstars to second unit guys. Air Force also plays basically an identical offense to Navy. So the one thing they've been practicing against is this type of an offense. And I don't think Navy's that good anyway. Look, I might get killed in this game. They Navy might go in there and beat them by 30. But to me, you've got some value now, in my opinion, at +7 with the Air Force side. I think they'll hang in.
Let me ask you this one, Dave, because there's been nothing but money for a Navy so far in this contest.
Right.
Nothing but Navy money. Do you think
Right.
it stops here at 7, or are we going to see more money? And if you like
No.
Air Force, there's no rush to get to the window yet.
No, I don't think there's a rush to get to the window. It could continue to go up. It could also, listen, not for nothing, it could get canceled. I mean, if the Air Force problems are that bad, they might have to cancel the game. But as of now, it's still on the board. And, I know I'm going to be in the vast minority in this. Not the first time I've been in the minority. And I'm going to take the points.
Dave Koken, I know nothing about this game, so thank you for sharing your thoughts, brother. Next game, Missouri +11 versus Tennessee. A total of 48.5. Low-scoring game or a big dog. Where are you going in this one?
Well, I had Tennessee last week and got away with the win against South Carolina, so I'll take that. And Tennessee does have quite a bit of potential, but they might be a year away. Part of the problem is the quarterback, Guarantano. He just misses too many receivers. And this has been an ongoing problem. I think his leadership skills are fine. He makes pretty good decisions for the most part. But, I mean, you got to hit the receivers. And he must have missed 5 wide open guys last week. I won't say wide open, but open enough so they should have made catches. And that's not going to hurt them, I don't think, in terms of winning this football game. But the inability to hit those big plays when they're there makes it tough for a team to cover the spread, especially a spread of this size. Missouri showed some decent flashes last week against Alabama. They were up against a much better football team. As far as where I make the number on the game, it's basically on the number. I made it a little less than 11, 10.5 roughly. So I think it's the right price in the game. I'm not going to get involved, but I definitely do think Tennessee will at least win this football game. And I'll be looking for a spot to play against them at some point. I'm comfortable with getting the win out of them last week. And I think the Tennessee, the hype train for Tennessee might be a little bit ahead of the actual train. They're good, but off what I saw last week, they're not great.
Dave, I want to ask you this, in particular about Missouri, because Tennessee, I feel like last week was a realistic assessment of what this team is. They're good, but they're not great. The skill position talent is tremendous. The QB play is spotty. But for a team like Missouri, when you open up against Alabama, how much do you take away from that game? Or do you just kind of chuck it away and say the real Missouri or what we're expecting to see in Missouri comes this week?
Well, there's certain things I like that came out of the game. I thought they played good rushing defense. They held their own on defense against Alabama. I mean, Crimson Tide were eventually going to put up points, but they're just it's Alabama. But one thing I didn't like, and we'll find out if it's any different this week, is that Missouri couldn't run the football. And that might be an issue here because Tennessee was very good stopping the run last week against South Carolina. But there's a caveat there. South Carolina doesn't have a good running game. Their best backs from last year are all gone. I think like the 4th best back is the best back on this year's squad, and I don't know what you can draw a lot out of that. And I thought Tennessee had big advantages in the trenches against South Carolina last week. So I don't know. I mean, it's Missouri. I think will be a respectable team. I like their new coach, and we'll see. And then now that we'll do this live. Hold on, the phone service is calling. The cleaning service is calling.
Oh, yeah, let's do this live. Let's watch Dave.
Yeah.
Hey, Dave. What's going on, bro?
Oh, okay. I
Yeah.
will get them. I'm recording. Be right
Okay.
back.
Okay. Teddy, dude, let's talk.
They're
Let's
at
talk
the
really
door, so
quick.
give me 30 seconds. Bullshit.
Dave,
and I'll
go,
be
go,
right back.
go. We got you. Teddy, let's talk quick about Denver and the New York Jets. I can't find a damn thing to do on this game. I want to play the under really bad, but I don't know where the interceptions are going to come.
So it's funny, you're like, we haven't done this game as a big game breakdown. I didn't put a segment into the game before Denver against the Jets tonight. Why not? Because there's no freaking way I'm putting any money on either one of these teams.
Yeah.
I don't trust the Jets to get stops. I don't trust the Jets to move the football. I don't trust the Broncos to get stops. I trust the Broncos a little bit more than the Jets to get stops, but not that much. And I certainly am not going to ask a third-string quarterback who was on the practice squad 2 weeks ago to go on a short week and win the game 2,000 miles away from home. It's two teams I want no part of right now. And from a total standpoint, again, the lowest total on the board. In general, when you're talking about bad teams in TV games, they like to show something. They like to chuck it around. You can't be shocked if a game like this goes over the total, but you cannot trust either one of these offenses to sustain drives this week. Easy pass for me, and there's a reason that we chose MLB for Big Game Breakdown tonight.
And we'll get to that big game breakdown a little later. Dave Koken back with us. Dave, we were talking Missouri and Tennessee. Do you want to continue, or are you done your thoughts?
No, I'm done. I'm not playing the game. My number's right where the number is, 10.5, 11. So the line's slightly higher than that, but it's certainly not playable material for me.
Okay, Memphis -2.5 versus SMU. A big total, 74.5. They expect a lot of scores. How do we look at this game?
This might be the most fun game on the schedule on Saturday. Memphis is a quality team. SMU's a solid team. I think Memphis is a little bit better. I make them about 2 points better on a neutral field, and that's where the line is again. As far as the total goes, though, something interesting here. I don't play many college totals, so take this with a grain of salt. It's not going to be a play for me, but a little bit of a lean at least. SMU is going to run the football. I mean, they really went ground and pound last week, and that's not something you really want to see if you're betting it over, because it does eat up the clock. Even though playing fast break, it still eats up time. That tells me the total might be a shade high in this game. I mean, you'll have to sweat like crazy if you bet the under and hope it doesn't go to overtime. But I think the flow of this game might lend itself to it being just a little bit lower scoring than the number has it. And this is going to be a game that gets a lot of overplay because it's on TV. Yeah. It's two high-scoring teams, and people love to bet overs. We'll call it a tad. Haven't used that word before. A tad of value, a scintilla of value on the under in this game.
And it's definitely worth noting, if you're looking for that scintilla of value, you probably want to get on it right now. Some of the leading indicator books have already moved down to 74 or 73.5 on this ball game. And Dave, I wanted to ask you, we're seeing some money for SMU in the marketplace this morning. The 2.5's mostly gone. I'm seeing 1.5 or 2s on my WagerTalk live odds screen right now. What do you take of the move towards the Mustangs as home dogs?
I think the game's a pick 'em. I mean, I really do. I think the game's a complete toss-up. This is one of those mornings where that's my accountant calling. I'll let that go to voicemail. It's just one of those Thursday mornings. Sorry, guys. I can't pick a winner in the game. I mean, my power ratings ever so slightly favor Memphis, but to me, these two teams are really close. And if there were a true home field, I might say, okay, let's take a shot with SMU, but there isn't, and you have to factor that in to me in every game. Depending on how strong a home field advantage normally is. And an example of that would be, let me pick somebody. Oh, West Virginia, okay? West Virginia's got a great home field. It's rowdy. It's uncomfortable for visitors. The crowd there is definitely worth more than in other locales. But there's nobody at the game this weekend. So that to me is more of a you have to do more of an edit on your power ratings when a team like that is at home than SMU, which I don't consider to have a particularly phenomenal home field advantage regardless.
Dave Koken, what do you got on tap for us this weekend? I tell you flat out, I'm betting your college football plays. I have been since day one.
3 college games as of now. One of them is that Air Force play that I took a shot with. That's the smallest play, and I put that up as a free play. And I've got 2 other best bets as of now. Possible I might add something, but we're keeping the cards thin this year, but that's just the way it goes. I mean, I'd love to be playing more volume, but I'm not going to just stretch for games when there's not as many games as there's usually been, and it's not the easiest bet in the world right now. But I'm real happy with the results. I believe I'm going to have a 5% NFL play, and I almost never.
Yeah.
I'll have to look up when the last time I played a 5% in the NFL is. It's been a while. Let's put it that way. But we've hit 74% on 5% plays over the last 12 calendar months. There were a few months where there weren't any because we had a virus, but that's still a lot of winners. And I will decide by this afternoon whether it's a 5% play. It then has nothing to do with an upcoming meeting with the accountant, by the way.
That's funny. Dave, text me what that play is, dude. I haven't. I have a short list. I'm down to 7. Trying to get it down to 4 or 5. So I'd love to hear your thoughts. I've got
it's an underdog.
Okay, well that only accounts for alleviating half the board. He's Dave Koken, brother. We can't thank you enough for joining us. MLB first pitch today. You're on like always, 2 p.m. Eastern, right?
Busy stuff.
Okay, brother, get out of here. Let's take a quick break. We're right back with Teddy's 6 Ps.
Every Monday is $9 Mondays over at WagerTalk.com and SportsMemo.com. Get any best bet or daily package for only $9.
Welcome back to Wager Talk Today, your source for sports and sports betting information every weekday, 9 a.m. Pacific time, noon on the East Coast. Prez and I break it down from a Vegas perspective. Let's talk bad beats, bad bets, and bad for the books from last night. We're going to start in the NBA. Well, the sharp money came on Miami. The square money came on Miami. Heat from plus 5.5 down to 4.5. And you got to say that was pretty wrong, considering they were as high as plus 26.5 in game. Miami, a bad bet last night. There was light under money that cashed. Of course, it was a game that was 199. There was 4 minutes left. Easy to go over given that situation, but there was no scramble points down the stretch, and scoring pretty much died. The last minute and a half stays under the total. And again, light under money there. No big decision for the books. Bad beats? Well, I mean, maybe the Reds. Bauer set records, but if you can't score, you can't win. So that's not a bad beat. 1-0 loss to the Braves. Under bettors in Chicago, Oakland. They didn't enjoy that ninth inning. Unders will take years off your life. And as my good departed friend Dave Malinsky used to say, there is a special section of hell reserved just for relief pitchers. Anyone had the under in the White Sox A's last night. Didn't enjoy that at all. I'm not calling the Indians a bad beat. That was just a crazy game. Bettors won with the Yankees and over. Money came from New York. Money came for the over. Bettors won with the A's. Not a good result for the house. And, of course, another bad result for the house. The Dodgers run line cash. Dodgers in a low-scoring affair managed to plate the 4th run. That was the one that mattered. The Dodgers run line in every parlay last night. And, of course, when it comes to the bettors losing bad bets, the Twins took money yesterday. They're now 0-18, their last 18 postseason games. And there was a fair bit of money for the Rays, Jays under. Tampa's bat spoiled that in a big hurry as they swept Toronto out of the postseason. That's what we have for bad beats, bad bets, and bad from the books from last night. Back to you, Mr. Prez.
Thanks, my friend Teddy. Great stuff. I love hearing that segment. Great day for most of the team at WagerTalk.com yesterday. Carmine Bianco laid out a 3-0. So did Marco. Won both his baseball plays. Brian Leonard won his baseball play. I went 2-1 in baseball. And Teddy, I released a play against the Toronto Blue Jays. It was very painful. I mean, I try so hard to keep some kind of purity in my life. Like, I want to cheer for a team and be a sports fan. But man, like, I don't want to miss winners here. So yeah, so that's how that went for me. I won my bet and my heart.
Being a fan, I have to say something here because it's so much better to be a bettor than to be a fan. It really is. When you're a fan, when you know your team's going to lose, you know what you do? When you're a bettor, when you know your team's going to lose, you know what you do? Cash in, baby. You know, when you have a bad owner, think about a Knicks fan, all right? And you're sitting there for 30 years. You're stuck rooting for this same awful team that's poorly managed and poorly run, and you know you're everything they do is going to be wrong. And you're just stuck as a fan. You're like, yeah, well, I'm going to go to the Knicks game. As a bettor, you're like, that's a team I can fade, and then another team I can bet. I honestly feel sorry for fans. It's a bad way to go through life. It really is.
Gianni, do you agree with this? He feels sorry for fans. What is your opinion on this? You have a team? You love anybody?
I haven't been a fan in so long, I don't even remember what it's like. Except for MMA, which I actually watch, and I even get sweaty palms sometimes. Like, I actually care about the outcome, but more because I want to win for the pick I gave out. It's irrelevant about the money won or lost, and I actually feel it. But I haven't felt it in forever, Prez. I mean, since I finally became a winning bettor close to 10 years ago, it's never been the same. I haven't watched a single baseball playoff game yet. I swear to you, not an inning, not a strike of a single baseball game. I don't have the time. I'm betting college football. I'm betting NFL. I'm betting team totals. I'm betting second halves. I'm betting all this stuff. I don't have the luxury to sit and watch it and enjoy it. I don't even know the result. Honestly, I look at the end of the week to see when I settle who I got to settle with, and that tells me if we won or lost. And I just trust that the guys I work with year after year, we're going to turn a profit. And when I came to Wager Talk, this isn't an infomercial. I did a video, and that's what I said. I'm not going to promise you I could win today, tomorrow, this month. All I know is I win long term. I'm in that 1% that could actually do that for you. And the way we do it is by not watching games and being fans, but by actually working all day to find inefficiencies in the market. I would love nothing more than to just produce content and talk about sports like I win betting. But you just can't do that, you know what I mean? Unfortunately. But, you know, it takes work. It takes work. So I can't be a fan, unfortunately. I wish
I'm a fan of yours, Gianni. But you big time. Last week you came on the show. No expert has been more secure in telling somebody to bet than you were on Izzy. I mean, you basically insisted, you implored, and it was an easy winner. I want to thank you for that, man. I mean, that was just gold. What else is going on with you?
You're welcome, brother. Go ahead.
How's your week been betting-wise?
I don't think too good. I don't think we're doing that good in the baseball playoffs. I know a couple series I bet. Yeah, I don't think we're doing all that well. In fact, the last month and a half, I burned through a lot of the profit I was up. I was up close to 300 positions. Well, actually like 100 positions if you're doing 3 units each. But I probably lost close to half of that in the last, 2 months. I can't time where I'm going to win or lose. I just trust that after 1,000 bets, I'm going to be up. Now, over those 100, I could get killed. And unfortunately, if you jump on over those hundreds, I can't do anything about that. Like, that's where I feel bad about the service we provide, because you can't time it. You know what I mean?
Brother, let's get straight to it. Seattle against Miami. A lot of differing opinions in this game. A lot of very smart guys I know like the, opposing sides here. Seattle's likely going to take money all week. I just don't know if it's going to be wise money, and I don't know if we're going to get to that 7. But right now it's minus 6.5, 53.5. And I'm looking at the over myself. It's on my short list. What are you doing in this game?
I'm betting Miami. It's just a matter of getting the right number. Right now it's sitting 6.5, and I won 7 without having to pay 120. I'm not sure that's going to happen. A couple of the groups that I work with have already asked for if you find a 7 to bet it. So they're out there looking for it. I may have to lay 120, but I just think this Miami team's a lot better than we're giving them credit for, especially on the offensive side of the football, where they're in the top half of the league. If you look at, DVOA, and if you could score in today's NFL, that back door is going to be open. So for me, I think Miami could, number one, stay in the game, and number two, be in a position to win it late. And playing at home, I just think this is a good spot for them against a Seattle team, which obviously is playing lights out. But still, I just think for Miami, this is a good spot. They're being overlooked here. And they played some good games, especially against Buffalo. I was impressed how they played that Buffalo game. They lost, but they played well.
Sure. Miami's been pretty good at home, even dating back to last year from a point spread perspective. You throw out the first 4 games of the 2019 season, the Dolphins' statistical profile looks very different than it does when you look at the full season results. I want to ask you this about Seattle. 3-0 straight up, 3-0 against the spread, and they've been an excellent road team throughout the Russell Wilson, Pete Carroll era. Do you consider that as a factor? This team keeps on going east and keeps on being in these bad trouble spots, and yet they keep on winning games and covering spreads? Or is that one of those deals, it's more like past history, and let's not worry about their track record in these spots. Let's worry about the matchups for this game.
I think it's kind of past history, Teddy, only because it kind of works in cycles. Like we saw with the Saints, where there was a couple-year period where you blindly just bet the Saints at home and they were covering. And it kind of became the thing. Bet the Saints at home, fade them on the road. But now if you look over the last, 2 or 3 seasons sample size, it's kind of become the opposite, where, bet the Saints on the road and fade them at home because they've become overvalued. And that's just a testament to how efficient the NFL betting market is. And I always go back to the example of, if you look back over the last 5,000 matchups, you're going to find close to 2,500 favorites, 2,500 dogs, 2,500 overs, 2,500 unders. That's how efficient they are, that when you add in the VIG, you can't blindly bet anything and turn a profit. And I think with trends such as those, it begins to get baked into the cake. Seattle does well on the East Coast. Seattle does well traveling. Let's shade the line towards that bias. No longer does that trend become profitable for bettors. So I think it's one of those, if you got out and made money early doing it, good for you. You saw something and got ahead of the market. If you're doing it now because Teddy shared it, the trend on a show, or you saw it on Twitter, that's where I think it's a little late, because obviously the market either has already caught up if we're talking about it, or is on the verge of doing so.
Gianni, great stuff, man. Guys, at 270 people watching live, only 51 likes. Let's go, man. Do you know how hard it is to get Gianni on this show? I gotta pay him.
That's okay.
I gotta clean his house. I'm part of his housekeeping crew. I gave him that bottle of water.
I don't get likes or retweets. That's the rule. But I do get views. That's what's key. That's key. If you see my videos on Twitter, we'll get 4,000 views and 3 retweets, 1 like. It's the funniest thing.
Well, Teddy and I like you, and I just hit the like button. New Orleans, -4. We were just talking about this team. Now they're on the road. They're at Detroit, 54.5 again. This is on my short list. I'm leaning towards Detroit. Where are you going here, bro?
So glad you asked. I released a 4% play on this. I bet the under. We bet the under 56 and 55, I think, or 55 and 54. One of the two. I gave it out at the fairer number. I always do. I shade the line worse for me because I know the line's going to move in our direction. Usually always does. And here's the reason. Back to the regression and how efficient the NFL betting market is. Through 3 weeks of this year, teams have averaged 51 points per game. That's a lot higher than last year, almost 6 points a game higher, 5.5 to be exact. And the market hasn't caught up. Here's why. The average total over these 3 weeks has been 46.5. That's not high enough when you're averaging 51 points. Last year, the NFL averaged, 45.5 points. But the average total was 45.7. That's how efficient the market is. Rest assured, when this season's over, we'll be able to say the exact same thing. Small sample size, 16 games. You can't wait for the regression. You got to get out ahead of it. We have 8 or 9 matchups with totals of over 51. Don't blindly bet the unders, but start looking under, and that's what I did here in this Saints game. We bet the under. I think there's still value there, and I think you're going to start seeing a lot more unders than overs, especially on some of these higher line games.
So there was a great article on ESPN
next.
yesterday, Johnny.
Sorry, that was my fault. Teddy, say that
That's okay.
again.
There was a great article on ESPN yesterday talking about the holding penalties being way down and pass interference penalties being way up. And this is the moral equivalent of the NFL juicing the ball. You know, when MLB juices the ball, they want fans.
Right.
Fans like high-scoring games. And when you call fewer holds and more PIs, guess what happens? Scoring goes up. Do you think that the total adjustment has been enough this week, given those surrounding factors? Or do you think we're still going to see a fair few overs, given the circumstances surrounding this year's NFL, where they're competing against sports they haven't had to compete with in the past?
What a great question. That's the perfect question, because you have the league trying to do one thing, sports books and odds makers the other thing, and us bettors trying to figure it out. And the league wants points. That's obvious, as you touched on. When you start bending the rules towards that, no one has to, we all know what's going on. Now it's the odds makers and markets' job to catch up or actually get out ahead of it. I don't think they've done a good job through 3 weeks. At least the results show that. And I don't think it's going to happen instantaneously in this week. I do think there's a couple games lined higher than they should be. There's randomness involved. That don't mean they're going to stay under, but I think you're getting the best of it by betting those unders. But as long as the refs do what they're doing, the league does what they're doing, we're going to have a tougher time of cashing these unders until the books really step on the gas. I don't think they've done that so far. It looks like they're trying, but I think over the next 3 weeks is when they'll have to make that decision where every game more or less is lined closer to 60, to get some unders, or it'll start doing it on its own with these 52s and 54s that they don't have to. But something's got to give. They're not going to keep letting you cash 6 out of 10 bets blindly betting overs.
Gianni, listen, I'm only going to speak for myself and pretty much everybody in the chat room. You are the most excitable, energetic, loquacious, I see words like handsome and tanned man ever. I know we're going to talk UFC, but I just want to hear your take on the weather. Vegas is going to be over or under 90 degrees. It's going to be over 90. Prez, I know for sure, 100%. I have studied the weather charts. I have spoken. I tan all day long. I mean, dude, I need you in my life daily.
As
that energy
baby.
is like unbelievable.
I want people to feel all warm and fuzzy inside when they walk to the sports book, as if they got the angle, and if they lose, it's because you got lucky, not because I made the wrong choice. That's how I want my people walking to the window.
There are over 700 Smiths in the phone book. I know without counting. Anyway, UFC, bro, let's get to it. What do you got for us?
Yeah, this is a tough card. Here's what I like, and I'll tell you real quickly a bet that I'm going to place. I haven't even released it, so you're getting it first right here, and that's Court McGee, over Carlos Condit. Now, McGee got steamed. He opened as the underdog. He's a slight favorite now, around minus 125 or so. You couldn't get on him as an underdog because the books that opened like that, the market's so small, you could probably bet about $200 anyway. So most of us got in on him that bet him at around minus 110, minus 120 range. He should be closer to a minus 150, 175 favorite. The reason he isn't, Condit's name recognition. And I love Condit. He's had 10 post-fight bonuses. Fan favorite. But recency, you got to look the other way. He's been favored now for the 6th time in his last 9 fights, opened as a favorite, and we know the results of those haven't been good. And more importantly, his weakness is the takedowns. 36% takedown defense. In his last 5 losses, he's minus 13 in takedowns. And what does McGee do well? He's a wrestler. He averages almost 2 takedowns per 15 minutes, and even striking, he lands more. I think Court McGee's the right side, win or lose. I laid the 120. I'll lay the 125, 130. Like I said, all the way up to 150. I'm comfortable. 6 out of 10 times easily gets this done. Not as confident. Doesn't give me the edge that Izzy Adesanya gave me. Not that kind of a margin, but enough to place a wager. I like Court McGee here on Saturday.
Man, Gianni, it's a thrill to watch you work. You're as good as they get in this game. Teddy's laughing because I'm kissing your ass, but your ass deserves kissing. I don't know what else to say.
I came here, Prez, with $600, bro. $600. I swear to God, $600 I came to this city with. Luggage and not knowing which direction the damn strip was. It was 2 a.m. and I didn't even know where to go, and I got in a cab and asked for a cheap motel, and he took me to the High Hat Motel on Las Vegas Strip across from Olympic Gardens with like 3 crack addicts out front, prostitutes and shit. And I was like, dude, this is nicer than my place in Philly. Vegas is going to be great. And from
so my first night in town,
here we are.
Johnny, my first night in town, I my car made it and died.
They don't know what we've been through, Teddy, to get here. Like, it didn't happen by accident, man.
Yeah.
Brother, thanks so much, dude. Get the hell out of here, guys.
I love you. I love watching you. I love what you do for the industry, for the bettors, for the fans. Keep it up. Wager Talk. Love you, Prez. Love you, Teddy.
Cheers.
Ciao, buddy. Commercial break, everybody. We're right back.
Football is here, and the Gold Sheet, the nation's oldest sports betting newsletter, is back for its 63rd year, bigger and better than ever. Gold Sheet has a new, improved web-based, mobile-friendly format that includes all of the winning information you rely on with the easiest access ever. While the format is new, all of the features you are accustomed to are still there. That's right, analysis on every pro and college game, key release selections, updated power ratings on every team, point spread logs for all NFL and college teams, and all college football games through May 2021 will be included. To celebrate joining the Wager Talk family, we are offering our subscribers our best deal ever. Sign up for a season of any Gold Sheet product and get $200 in wager bucks as a bonus. Wager bucks can be used to purchase handicapping information from any of our 40+ experts on Wager Talk or sportsmemo.com. Head to goldsheet.com/wagertalk for any subscription and bonus details.
Welcome back to Wager Talk Today, your source for sports betting information every day. We try to be your sports central for gamblers. Let's talk big game breakdown. And I know there's an NFL game tonight. It is maybe the worst NFL game. There have been other bad ones. I have no opinion on that game. I'm sorry. When I give you a big game breakdown, I want to give you something that I can at least lean towards. In the NFL tonight with Denver and the Jets, I can't give you a side or total. I have no leans. I wouldn't put any of my money on that game. So let's talk some MLB for tonight. The San Diego Padres and the St. Louis Cardinals. Currently, the Padres sitting about minus 160. There's a fair bit of variance on that line. You can lay 155. You can lay 175 right now. But 160 is the prevailing number. Of course, you can always look on that Wager Talk Live odds screen. That's free for everyone to check out at the website. to see what the current numbers are at various books around Vegas and offshore, as well as around the country, that we can say. But it's in that range. Total has been bet up to 9 in a matchup between Adam Wainwright and Zach Davies. I'll tell you what, 9 might be a lot for this one. First, Davies pitches well in San Diego. He's a good fit for that ballpark. You like the veteran hurler. You like the fly ballers in this park. And Davies certainly fits that. So does Wainwright. And while Wainwright is a long way from his ace level stuff, both pitchers are likely to go deep in this one. Certainly Davies is someone who they're relying on to go deep tonight, being that the Padres used up their bullpen yesterday. But the key factor here is those middle innings. At this time of year, the shadows in San Diego at Petco Field are between home plate and the pitcher's mound. You think that makes it hard to hit? It makes it ridiculously hard to hit. You're not going to see a whole lot of runs scored in the 4th or 5th or 6th, and maybe not the 3rd or the 7th, depending on how the shadows are. But basically, you're taking about half the game and making it very difficult conditions for bettors. Now, I know it's hot. It's hot as hell out here on the West Coast. It's still 100 degrees in Vegas. It's supposed to be, temperatures upper 80s, near 90 in San Diego today. But given the shadows and given the fact that we like both of these starters in this ballpark, let's take a look at the Padres and Cardinals and staying under the total 9, the prevailing number. I like San Diego, St. Louis under 9. Back to you, Prez.
Great stuff, Teddy. Awesome stuff. I got to tell you what I was doing while you were talking. I mean, obviously I was listening to you a little bit, but Gianni pumped me up so much. I broke my my push-up record. I got to 52 straight. I needed to let out some steam after that. After Gianni, my God, is he good? Guys, a quick reminder: Ralph Michaels is coming up, and then after the show ends, the stream will not end. We're gonna take like a 1-minute breather, and then we're coming right back. Questions and answers with Teddy, Ralph, and myself. Ask any question you want, but save them. Save them till when that section starts, but stay with us. I'd like to say thank you to all of you guys for being with us every day. Bella, nice. I see what you're saying. Thank you very much. Simo, David Tabati, Manishma, my friend. Ray, how are you? Robert McIntosh, Terry Edelman, James McGinnis. We really appreciate so much that you guys take time out of your day every day to join us. Teddy and I are absolutely confident that this show is going to get bigger and bigger every day. And with your help, that will happen. Make sure to hit that like button, guys. Other than that, it's Ralph Michaels time. Ralph, how are you, my friend? What's going on?
Hey, guys, doing great. Teddy, I'm going to just, throw in one more thing about your San Diego Cardinals under. You have Wainwright on the mound, and he's one of those guys like DeGrom, like Baumgartner, who just gets up for the playoffs. 104 innings, a 2.5 ERA. So I agree with you on that under as well. You talked about not having much on a Thursday night game. I'm going to give you a stat on this. It's a pretty eye-opening stat, but I'm still not going to play the game because of you with the injuries on both sides. Now, there's times I give you an ATS record, and people think, okay, it's a good number. But it's important to compare the record against the rest of the numbers in that category. And here's the angle for tonight, for the angle of the day. NFL Thursday night home teams, when the lines are between the 2.5s, what does that mean? It means that you have a similar opponent. You have a team that perhaps is a little better than you and they're a small home favorite, or equal to you and the home edge takes part. But Thursday night home teams with the lines between the 2.5s, 18-6 ATS, 75%. And another thing I want to point out, it's also 18-6 straight up, 75%. Why is that important? Well, because sometimes you're a favorite, sometimes you're a dog. So you have a team that's similar to you, that is traveling on a short week, having to play on Thursday, and the numbers have been very strong. Let me give you the comparison numbers. Since 2015, if I take every home team with the line between the twos, you think they would win straight up. They're not. You actually have a losing straight up record, 150, 160, and 3, 48.4%. Home teams between the 2.5s ATS, actually better than straight up, 49.7%, 151 and 153. So strong angle makes sense to me, but not enough to get me on the game. Any thoughts?
Again, it all makes sense. All of it makes and Vic Fangio legitimately forgot his starting quarterback's first name. All right. He called Brett Ripien Mark. Okay. This is the guy who was on the practice squad 2 weeks ago. And now he's going to be starting in a short week game with limited prep against the Jets. So it all makes sense to look at the Jets here. And that makes perfect sense. We talk about the home team having a big edge on Thursday night in a matchup between two evenly matched teams. It absolutely passes the smell test. None of that is going to be enough to get me to the window to bet the Jets, especially because the rumor is Adam Gase gets fired if the Jets lose tonight, and I'm not convinced they really care about keeping his job.
Fair enough. Situational play of the day. I'm looking ahead to college football. Those that handicap often, I mean, you get to the end of the season, Army-Navy under is a no-brainer. We know how many times that's gone under. Well, a lot of times we forget about Air Force, and it hasn't had that same under mystique, but I'm going to go with them this week. Game 131, 132, under 46.5, Navy and Air Force. Air Force playing their first game of the season. Go back to BYU and Navy. We saw how Navy struggled running the ball against the physical BYU team. Air Force without their quarterback. He was suspended or kicked off the team for non-compliance of being a cadet. And when Air Force was going to play only 2 games against Navy and Army before the Mountain West decided to come back, they allowed their kids to opt out to add a year to the end. Almost 40 cadets from their football team did opt out. So you have a very, very short roster for them. Since 2005, if you look at Army, Air Force, and Navy, and you simply play the unders when those three face each other for the Commander-in-Chief trophy, you have gone 9 overs, 35 unders, and 1 push. That 75% to the under. Navy, even with their comeback against Tulane, number 66 out of the 71 teams that have played a game this year, they're averaging over 57.5 plays per game. That was with the comeback of the second half against Tulane. And I'll tell you this, we all remembered Coach Ken Monday night, how dejected he was. Navy will not embarrass Air Force. If they get up in the second half, it will be run, 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 punt. They will not be throwing the ball. They are not going to embarrass a Service Academy after they were embarrassed 2 weeks ago. So situational play of the day, Navy and Air Force under the total.
Whenever you're talking about a 35-9 to the under trend that's been, you can blindly bet over 15 years and it's cashed, it's certainly going to pique my interest, Ralph. Service Academy versus Service Academy, 75% unders over 15 years, and you don't even have to think about it. You just bet it. That's strong info. Appreciate you sharing.
You know, and I'm going to come back to both of you guys on this. You know, this is something I think is very important to do, and they may make this the regular segment on here, but we know Joe Public overreacts from 1 week in the NFL to the next. For those that aren't familiar, the Superbook USA, located in the Westgate here in Vegas, the largest Superbook until Circa opens, puts a look-ahead lineup. So 2 weeks prior to the game being played, you can bet these numbers. So let's look at the biggest numbers from last week's look-ahead to the lines as of Thursday morning and see if the public has overreacted because what's happened, or is there a legitimate reason for the move because of injuries? The biggest line moves this order, in rotation order, not top to bottom. Indy was pick. They're now minus 3.5. Tampa Bay was 4.5. They're now minus 7. The Rams were 9. They're now minus 12.5 or 13. KC, I just brought this up because I thought it was interesting. Top two teams in the NFL play. The team dominates on the road, or at least controls them on the road. KC was actually 8, and now it's down to 7, trying to get to 6.5. San Francisco was 3.5, now they're -7, and Green Bay was 5, and now they're -7. So if you're handicapping the NFL, look at what the experts had 2 weeks ago, look at where the market is now, and decide if that move is warranted or if it's an over-adjustment from a huge or poor performance from the previous week. Any stand out for you, Teddy and Prez?
Teddy, I'm interacting with the people in the chat room. So anything for you?
Yeah, there's a bunch of stuff. But see, when you text me and say, I go next, and then you get to go next, you have to have something to say there.
Teddy, we almost made it the whole show without your ordinary nonsense.
Yeah,
Okay,
I know, but it's so much fun to make fun of you when you screw up. Let's talk about just a real brief, Ralph. That 2.5. The Colts are 2.5 over the Bears, not 3.5. There's been, I think there was a typo. Did it ever get? I don't think it ever got that high.
That I'm looking at my notes. That was a clear typo on my part. It was 2.5 is the correct number. My bad, typo for the Colts. Thank you.
But we can go through there real quick. Okay, Indy's taking money against Chicago because the markets love the Colts' defensive statistical profile after 3 games. And after 3 games, you start taking people to take a look at statistical profiles.
And their number one point per game depth.
Rookie backup quarterback in Tampa looked good last week. The Rams off a loss, the Giants off a game that they didn't reach the red zone and they didn't get a stop. I'm not surprised at all that the LA's taking money. The really interesting one is the Patriots' money. You talked about that. Philly, obviously, train wreck when you lose to Washington and tie with Cincinnati. You're not going to be excited in the markets. And, of course, Atlanta off the devastating loss. But the fact that the Patriots are taking money against this impressive Chiefs team off that incredible performance on Monday night, that tells us that the market respect for New England is starting to grow.
It is. Well, I'll throw out one stat.
Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead, Prez. I just wanted to mention any capper this week, only $99, 7-day all access. You don't need a coupon. Normally $119, you're saving $20. Go to those cappers at WagerTalk and get a 7-day discounted package.
That's a great promo, Ralph. Thank you for mentioning that. Guys, let's call it. Everybody stay tuned. We're going to run the credits. We're going to run the commercial, and then the 3 of us are going to be right back to take questions from all of you. Teddy, take us home.
Thanks for watching. Enjoy the games and good luck. We'll be back again right here on WagerTalk Today, 23 hours from now. Talk to you tomorrow and also in 2 minutes.
Every Monday is $9 Mondays over at WagerTalk.com and SportsMemo.com. Get any best bet or daily package for only $9.
Football is here, and the Gold Sheet, the nation's oldest sports betting newsletter, is back for its 63rd year, bigger and better than ever. Gold Sheet has a new, improved web-based, mobile-friendly format that includes all of the winning information you rely on with the easiest access ever. While the format is new, all of the features you're accustomed to are still there. That's right, analysis on every pro and college game, key release selections, updated power ratings on every team, point spread logs for all NFL and college teams, and all college football games through May 2021 will be included. To celebrate joining the WagerTalk family, we are offering our subscribers our best deal ever. Sign up for a season of any Gold Sheet product and get $200 in WagerBucks as a bonus. WagerBucks can be used to purchase handicapping information from any of our 40-plus experts on WagerTalk or SportsMemo.com. Head to goldsheet.com/WagerTalk for any subscription and bonus details.
Hey guys, to a segment we don't have a name for. Thank you for staying with us. Ralph, I see the pen. Go, Ralph.
No, that's just the intro pen, Prez. Come on.
Oh.
There's an intro pen,
dude,
and then there's a I would like to interrupt pen once we start. We haven't freaking started yet.
Oh, well, my brain was like, see the pen, shut up, and let the man talk. Guys, we're going to take questions from all of you. We're going to do it for, 15, 20 minutes or so, see how this segment works. But bear with us. We've never done this before. There might be some issues, but here we go. Terry Edelman. Prez, my question is, why would the NFL schedule two really bad teams like the Jets and the Broncos on a Thursday night game when they knew they would both be bad? Well, Terry, my quick answer is New York and Colorado. A lot of people are going to watch that game, but Teddy, you the actual answer out.
The actual answer is that on Thursday night, over the course of the season, 17-week season, there's no Thursday night game, week 17. That leaves 16 weeks where they play Thursday night games, which equates to 32 teams, which means every team plays Thursday night once. And that's why we got the Jags and the Dolphins last week, and why we're getting the Jets and the Broncos this week, because every team gets the opportunity to play on Thursday nights. So you'll see matchups with all the bad teams and all the good teams, and everyone at least once, but only once.
Ralph, no reason.
It's actually every team has to play a Thursday or a Monday, but Mondays have become a bigger night than the Thursday. So we see these early games, like Teddy said, where everyone is getting a slot to be on a primetime game.
Guys, Sean Amelum writes, in the NFL, who has a good Super Bowl future price and who should we bet now? And my quick answer is this year it's tough from my perspective. I see the AFC winning the Super Bowl, whether it's Baltimore or Kansas City. I would rather look at which NFC team is going to get to the Super Bowl and give yourself a nice hedge opportunity. And I think Green Bay and Seattle are likely the two bets. Ralph, you go.
Well, I would throw out Green Bay and I would throw out Seattle because they're at the top of the markets being 3-0.
Yeah.
So the question for me would be, if you rephrased it, who is the best 1 and 2 team out there that you can find great value? And I'm gonna say the New Orleans Saints. You know, they're a team that I had higher. Michael Thomas's injury affected the way they played the last 2 games. So to me, the 1 and 2 Saints, will you win the division? The only team you have in front of you is the Buccaneers. So that's the important thing. If you're picking a 1 and 2 team out, it has to be one that has to be able to win their division to get there.
And my advice is real simple. All right, betting Super Bowl futures is a negative proposition. It's not a positive expectation bet. If you want to bet a team on the Super Bowl futures, don't do it that way. Just bet them on the money line every week and let it carry over and let it roll over. And guess what? You end up with a lot more money than you would have if you would have bet them on the future line and locked your money up here in the first day of October. So that's my 2 cents on odds to win the Super Bowl. Good luck.
Bam Golf asks, President Teddy, I love watching you guys every day. Here's my question. Give us your thoughts on live betting and your best tips on how to win doing it. I'm going to need glasses for this segment next time. Friend of mine made $30K. You know, I mean, listen, from my perspective, the easiest rule in live betting is that the original line is usually right. In other words, it's never far off the original line. So ultimately, if you have a team at -7, say Kansas City plays New England gets the ball first, marches down the field and scores. Now you're going to get Kansas City at -2.5 to 3. There's your bet. 1 possession, game has barely started, and all of a sudden you're getting 4 points of value to the original line. So if you're doing live betting in the first quarter or the first half, try to stay around that original line, both side and total, because as the game progresses, it's way back to where you're holding your breath in the last 2 minutes. Teddy, any thoughts?
I mean, the concept for me for live betting is very simple. It's buy low, sell high. I love in the NBA. I do a lot of live betting in the NBA. I'm betting on the team after the other team just went on a 12-0 run and the coach called timeout. I'm buying low. And it's the same story in the NFL. You bet that Prez gave a great example. Patriots come down, score a touchdown. A 7-point line is now 3.5, and you're buying low on the favorite. One thing that I never do live betting is lay a worse price than I could have laid before kickoff or tip-off.
Yes.
I'll just leave those games alone.
That's a great thing. And I
Ralph?
also wanted to point out one last thing. Always keep abreast of the math. In other words, if you get down to the last 6 minutes of a game and one team scores a touchdown and they're up by 7, the other team is forced to score a touchdown and field goals go away. So pay attention to that, because you could get a quick late rally on 14 points just based on math. Ralph, anything here?
Yeah, well, number one, the 30,000 guys, don't get enamored with numbers. Don't bet more than you can afford. A $5 bet to some people is the same as a $500 bet is the same as a $5,000 bet to some people. So what someone won is irrelevant. How many units they won is the important note. Teddy, I love your advice in the NBA. I'll tell you what, I don't get greedy in the NBA. I play one side early, I play the other side, and I am happy to take a 30-cent middle all day long, a guaranteed 30 cents every game you watch, because almost every NBA game, you can find a middle between them. And the other is, I don't live bet any game that I'm not watching or someone has updated me on, because too many things can happen where you're not sure how the flow has gone. If an injury just occurred where the live bets don't adjust and you think, okay, I have the favorite. They just gave up a touchdown. I can now bet that favorite for something else. But unless I actually see that game, don't risk the money unless it's something that can pass the eye test.
Great point, Ralph. Guys,
Prez,
go ahead, Teddy.
Let me jump in real quick, because I needed to add one more addendum to that. Where people get killed in live betting is, instead of making 1 or 2 bets, like you were talking about, Ralph, and that's what I try to do in live betting. I try to have, my optimal scenario is to have something on one side at a plus price, up at the other side on the plus price, and I'm done. You get killed when you start making 6, 8, 10 bets, 12 bets, 15 bets in game. It's like, find your position, stake them out, and be done with it. Where bettors get in trouble is when they're taking too many positions, because the juice on the in-game is higher than the minus 110 that you normally lay.
Yeah, and Teddy, I think one of your original points was really good, and that is, in regards to chasing. I mean, if you followed the Lakers last night, they're up by, I'm just making this up, they're up by 30. The line's minus 26.5. I'm in. The flow of games change. Stick to Teddy's rule of don't get a worse line than the original line. Next question. Here we go. Bated breath. Handicapper. Do you put more weight on your power ratings or other factors when handicapping sports? Ralph, I'll go to you first.
Well, my power ratings, I put a ton of the percentage of my bet in, because I put so much time into it. So it's basically, how much time do you put in your power ratings? Now, I do this. Some people change their power ratings every week because of injuries. I don't. So what I do is I have my power ratings, then I look at the matchups. What's the O-line against the D-line? What's the wide receivers against the DBs? I look at the situation. Back-to-back home, back-to-back away. How are they as a favorite? Do they have revenge? Then I look at the technicals, who's doing what. So in my mind, power ratings are probably 40% of my base play I'm speaking specifically now, college football and the NFL.
So for me, when it comes to power ratings, it's real simple. I'm going to make my short list, and the whole process starts for me with a short list. Where you go through every game, you say, I'm not playing this one, I'm not playing that one, I'm not playing the other one, but this looks interesting, and that looks interesting, and the other looks interesting. My short list is going to be based on the opening lines / my power ratings and what kind of differentials I find. So that's how I'm going to eliminate a fair bit of the card off the bat. Then from that short list, everything's information, situation, et cetera, et cetera. So the power ratings will help me eliminate games. They will not exclusively put me on a game.
Great stuff, Teddy and Ralph. Guys, listen, I know a lot of you have questions. We're going to get to some of your questions and some we won't get to. You can always email me if you want. My apologies. Here's a great question, guys. TJ writes, I've always been a unit bettor. Sometimes a unit is $50. It goes to 100 and so forth. Since I joined WagerTalk, everything is in percentages. Should I change my unit strategy? The answer to that question is great question, and hell yes, you should. TJ, this is the most important thing you can possibly do. The reason we bet on percentage, Teddy, I don't know why Teddy's smiling at me. You can't see him. But
I like it when you get passionate.
Yeah, babe. Well, this is right in my sweet spot, Teddy. This is
your Gianni moment.
Yeah, baby. Okay, so anyway, here's how it works. If you bet a percentage of your bankroll and stay constant to that percentage, your money allows itself to grow exponentially and vice versa. So if you go on a 15-5 run, you actually gained a free win, and you are now 16-5 because you increased your money, and your money on the 12th win, on the 13th win, on the 14th win is working on the profit you built up along the way. Conversely, if you lose and you go a 5-15 run, that actually only equates to 5-14 because your money decreased exponentially as you lost. There is nothing more important than betting a percentage of your bankroll to take advantage of exponential growth and whatever the hell the word is for the opposite of exponential growth. Teddy, you want to add to that?
Yeah, I mean, the concept is very simple. And you're absolutely right, Prez. But the concept is when you're seeing things clearly, you bet a little bit more. When you're not seeing things clearly, you bet a little bit less. And when you're betting a percentage of bankroll, that ensures that's going to happen. Ralph?
You know, I think Prez made it a little too complicated. I don't know if Prez, you meant to say you don't change the percentage every bet you make. I do this. You start the week with $10,000. You're betting 5% on a 5% play, 4% on a 4% play. You bet the entire week. If you end up the week plus $1,000, you now have $11,000. So your 5% plays are $550. So I change the bankroll once a week. You can't change it every play on a Saturday when you're betting all those plays. So you have your bankroll, mythical bankroll, $10,000. You win $1,000, you now have $11,000. So that 5% play is now worth $550 versus $500. Likewise, you lose, that 5% play is worth $90 a unit or $450. As Teddy said, when you're seeing things well, it's increasing. When you're seeing things poorly, it stops you from getting crushed in multiple weeks.
Yeah, great stuff. And Ralph, I adjust every day, actually, but I understand the concept of doing it weekly. Dwayne Clodfelter, that is a name, sir. He asks, Ralph, any tutorials for putting together a database like the use for trends and angles?
Well, you know, it's not my database. It's not even WagerTalk's database. It's a free database out there. If you go to killersports.com, Ed Meyer is a dear friend of mine from Cleveland. He's a professor at a college. Him and his brothers, who are all brilliant, built this database. You go to killersports.com, and on the left-hand side, you're going to see an NFL query guide. You're going to see an MLB query guide. Just open it up. It'll give you tips on how to start using the database.
Great answer, Ralph. And yes, we love Ed over at Killer Sports. With all that said, before I get to the next question, Teddy, Ralph's answer reminds me of the Texas barbecue story where you have the best barbecue of your life. And you're like, yo, Mr. Chef, how did you make that barbecue? He's like, oh, easy. Little salt, little pepper, cook on a barbecue. Now you know exactly what to do, yet you get home and it never works out. One time sports. Go ahead, Teddy.
I was going to tell a quick Ed Meyer story. So somehow I got recruited with Ed Meyer to go give a speech at some Wall Street conference. And me and Ed were up there doing teaser strategy. to a bunch of, like these guys are making 50 times what regular people make. It's the only time I've ever been on Wall Street as a presenter. And that came with Ed Myers, who obviously put this SDQL thing together.
I remember that story well, Teddy. One Time Sports, this is a great question. How do you spot games that lines come out incorrectly? Say if a game's supposed to be -7, but bookmakers might make it -4 or 5. I have an answer for that, but I'd rather go straight to you. Ralph, give it the first go.
Well, you're not going to find many sports where a line is 2 points off. But remember this. This is going back to handicapping 101. A bookmaker is making a line based on where they think they're going to get 50% of the money. So if they're a public house, let's say the Golden Nugget gets a ton of Wisconsin money, a ton of Green Bay Packer money. They adjust their line because they know what they're going to get, and they're trying to get equal money on both sides. The other answer is have a strong set of power ratings. Your power ratings tell you what those numbers should be prior to the team coming out. That's why you keep power rating numbers to try to get that early value.
Teddy?
And to say exactly like this line, when I see a differential between my powering number and the market number and it holds, I want to find out why. The investigation is not, okay, the number is different. The investigation is there something I'm missing? If there's nothing, if I go do my due diligence, nothing I'm missing, guess what? That's a bet, or it's certainly on the short list. But you want to make sure, even if your number is different from the market number, that there's a reason for the market being where it is on every game. That said, sometimes the reasons are wrong.
Teddy Covers, Ralph Michaels. This segment is going so well. What's the next question? Oh, our man with the weird name, but we do love him. You're on with us every day. A 1, 2, 3, 10 ones and a K. If I want the other side of the counter, how would I work my way up to become in Las Vegas, Teddy?
You just start. This is what you do, okay? Most of the guys, I shouldn't say that. There are guys that come in at the management level. Lots of guys come in at who end up working their way up to supervisor and then race and sportsbook assistant director and then race and sportsbook director. If you're looking for that as a career, you can come in anywhere. You can come in as a ticket writer. And that's normally what people get their first job in a sportsbook is as a ticket writer. It's not easy to come in and get an assistant to the head odds maker, assistant trader, or a trader. Those are jobs that are, going to be very highly competitive to get. But if you come in as a ticket writer, again, not going to happen overnight. But if you come in as a ticket writer and you show up for work every day and you're into it and you get to know the people and you network, there's no reason to think that you can't move up. I've known a number of people that have been able to do that and taken that very route. Although it's a slow route, it's not a resume route. What do you think, Ralph?
I agree. I think Art DeCesar started that way when we talked about him. And, there's some great places, but, we see the sports books shrinking more and more. Caesar's buying William Hill. We're down to maybe 6 or 8 sports books. So there's not that many people making lines in Vegas anymore. A lot of them are just corporate companies that are just copying lines, putting them up, and then making adjustments from the action they're taking.
Guys, that's it. We got to call it a day. We got a big schedule of shows ahead of us. I can't thank you enough for staying with us. We're going to do this every single Thursday. We love you all. Teddy, thanks for your time. Ralph, you as well. Joe, our legendary technician, you're a god behind the board and annoying in my ear. Teddy, take us home.
Thanks for watching. Enjoy the games and good luck tonight.
Every Monday is $9 Mondays over at WagerTalk.com and SportsMemo.com. Get any best bet or daily package for only $9.